If you'll think about what I'm saying, you'll realize that if you really want to help, you want to stop the next child from being molested, and ask yourself objectively, what's the best way to do that? By throwing him out, by making him into a evil man? That's encouraging to be a molester. So all you're doing is making yourself feel good. I'm a good person because I hate that guy. You know how useless that is? It's so American. It's so simplistic. Americans are good people, but they have this thing called righteous indignation. Him I'm allowed to hate. There's no such thing as him I'm allowed to hate. If you want to put him to death, him I'm allowed to hate. But if you're not going to put him to death, he lives in this world. And it's my job to give him space, even if it's not for him, so that he should become productive. Because if he's not productive, he's going to be counterproductive. He's not going to be positive. Doesn't that make sense?
Molestation is an evil act.
And so is murder. And so is alcoholism. And so is gambling. And so is all these other diseases. It's an evil act. It involves children, which makes us very, very emotional about it. But remember, what's the point? To stop it. Not to punish, to stop it. I need you to think through what I'm saying. And if this is personal to you, I'm sorry. I would never debate you on a personal level. But it bothers me so much. If you want to help child molesting, you have to also help the molesters, not just put the name on a wall. The name has to be on a wall. But you invite him in shul, and you tell him shalom aleichem, and you send him shalach manas. Because then you're actually helping him. And helping him is removing a scourge. Is stopping him from doing it again.
What about something the exact opposite? You're like, oh, they're accepting me anyway, so I might as well just do it again.
So the society has to have rules. The rules are that every shul he comes into, he has to go over to the Rav and say, I'm a molester. And if he stops doing that, you can punish him for that. But the community has to say, you come into the shul, here's your seat. No children near you. It's the right way to handle this. But we're so emotional, we want to punish them. And I don't blame you for wanting to punish them. But you have to ask yourself an honest question. Do we want to help the world, or do we want to feel good about ourselves? So that guy has to know that he has to come into shul. He also has to know that he's able to do it. He has to know that he's going to walk into a shul and say, I'm a molester, he's not going to be kicked out of the shul. This way, you're actually protecting the children that way. Honestly.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is people are trying to protect the children.
No, people are trying to be angry.
No?
They're trying to punish people. They're trying to take revenge. And I don't blame them. But it's really not right. It's not helpful. No, it's not right because it's wrong. It's not right because it's not helpful. Wow. We just walked into... We started off with Adam Rishon and Chava in Gan Eden, and we ended up with the child molestation. Okay, I got 12 minutes. I need these 12 minutes with you. So the question becomes, Adam and Chava did Aveira. Why are we being punished hundreds of generations later? And of course the answer to that question, because Adam and Chava are different. And what they did is different. If you follow the logic of what I just presented, that punishment is always correction. And a person who has more crime in his life needs more punishment because he needs more correction. And the Torah says the cutoff line is 4 generations. If your great-great-grandfather was a Ganef, you're not going to be a Ganef because of him. Your great-grandfather, your grandfather, your father, yeah. That's what the Torah says, Riveim, 4 generations. But Adam and Chava's Aveira is forever. And you need to understand something philosophical, which is, why do most people do sin? And how did Adam and Chava sin? This is a very important thing to understand. When you read about tzaddikim doing avedas, you have to understand this point. People do avedas because they lose control. People do avedas because they slip. People do avedas because they gave in to temptation. Tzaddikim do avedas because they make a choice. Adam and Chava were not tempted by the fruit and they lost control. They understood what the fruit means, and they chose to eat the fruit because they wanted what the fruit is going to give them. What's the story of Eitz Hadas? What is the story of Eitz Hadas? The story of Eitz Hadas is Adam and Chava living in paradise, living in a perfect world. And Hashem tells them, your job is to do mitzvahs. And every time you do a mitzvah, you plant another tree and you produce another fruit. It's all wonderful. And then the Eibush says, I want you to know, by the way, in the basement there's junk. It's called Tachtas Asiyim Kabbalah. In the basement there's junk. There's a big mess of things that are broken pieces that nobody knows what to do with. You sit in Gan Eden, you eat your fruit, you do your mitzvahs, and the basement is going to get fixed up by itself. The birurim, the sparks of Elokus, which are buried in Klippa, are going to be fixed up indirectly, and you'll get credit for it. You just stay in Gan Eden and do the mitzvahs. And you see this tree? If you'll eat from this tree, you'll know what you're accomplishing in the basement. But don't eat it. Don't eat it. You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Wait, so they didn't have to deal with the darkness?
That's right. They uplifted the darkness by eating from the tree of life. That's it. But they were told, here's a tree, and this tree is going to give you knowledge. You're going to know how you're correcting the inexactitude in the Eibishter's world, which is beneath you in the basement. You're going to know and feel what you're accomplishing. And Adam and Chava said to themselves, if I am fixing Hashem's world, I want to experience how I'm fixing it.